you have to start it from your own family. You have to start it from your own friend circle. And that is how you're going to be a contribution in destigmatizing mental
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Homework Health Show Student Influencers Podcast. I'm your host, Leslie. Today we're with Shalmali, and she is the CEO of Empathy for You, which is a mental health service. And she's going to tell us more about that. So let's jump right in. So before we get started, why don't you tell me where you are currently located?
Okay. So thank you so much. First of all, I would love to thank you for having me at this podcast today and having this conversation. So yeah, I come from the city called Kolhapur, which is located in state of Maharashtra. So I'm basically an Indian. I come from India.
Okay.
And yeah, so that is where I'm located.
Great. Did you go to university or college at all?
Yes. So basically, I'm a student and I'm studying into my final year of engineering right now with the branch of computer science. So yes, I've attended the school. I've attended the college and I'm still doing that.
Perfect. So why don't you tell us a little bit? So you're the CEO of Empathy for You, and then you have another campaign called Letters of Empathy. So can you go ahead and tell us about that? Like what these organizations are and what they do?
So basically, Empathy for You is a social enterprise that works in spreading awareness about mental health and suicide prevention. If you consider the country of India, there's a very small population who is actually aware about mental health concepts, and out of that small population, there's another small population who actually talk about it, and hence there's a lot of stigma surrounding the mental health issues, and that is why I started Empathy for You. So we are carrying out a work in three ways. The first one is letter writing that we talked about. It is called as Letters of Empathy. So we write handwritten letters to the people who approach us through peer support group. And those letters are kind of, a sense of hope, a sense of support through those letters. They are full of words of kindness, compassion, love. And we also kind of make sure that we decorate those letters and kind of make it bright and colorful. The second thing we do is peer advocacy. We collaborate with schools, colleges, clubs, and organizations, and we conduct lectures, seminars, and workshops over mental health, importance of mental health over there. And the third thing is peer support. So we have kind of kept this space, a safe space for the people who want to come and talk about mental health and, went out and share their feelings about what they're going through. So we have kind of kept this peer support group intact, this concept from where Empathy for You started.
So with Empathy for You, that's like you bring that to like local university campuses?
No, it's basically an organization that is founded by me, but still now we are, kind of just expanding it online. So we haven't kept any physical boundaries for that. Since it's online, we can, expand it however we want. But we haven't given as such chapters to the universities or colleges. We have kind of kept it an intact organization.
Okay, so it is online based.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of got that start? Like, how did you kind of get involved in this kind of program?
Okay, so there's a short story that goes behind how I started Empathy for You and how I came into mental health, because as I told you, I come from a very different field of engineering and computer science, and now I'm kind of working in mental health. So there's a short story, that goes behind that. So when I was in 12th grade, one of my friends, she went through depression. And you won't believe, but during my 12th grade, I wasn't even aware of the terms depression and mental health. And when I tried to find the reason behind that, I understood that there's a lot of stigma and the taboo that revolves around it. And hence, no one in the society, no one in the family will actually talk about it. And, later I realized that she might not be the only one who's going through that problem, but there might be a lot of youngsters and teenagers out there who might be facing the same problem. And that is how basically Empathy for You came to rise. So I started it 2 years back, and it was just a kind of peer support group because I was coming from a different field. I wasn't knowing how should I go ahead, what should I do in order to spread awareness. But I started with peer support group where anyone who want to vent out, share their feelings and express what they're going through can come. And I used to be the one-man army beyond the organization at that time, although I have a team now. I used to be there and listen to the people and, kind of give them a listening ear. So that is how it started. And after that, I took some courses, I brainstormed some ideas, I got in touch with the mentors in the same field who already have an expertise in that field, and that is how I progressed with it. So when I started, I was knowing why I want to do it. I was knowing the motto behind doing this, behind starting Empathy for You. That was to spread awareness and destigmatize mental health. But I wasn't even aware of how, and that is how I did it. And we are now kind of 25 members with the core team of 4 to 5 people who are working, and we have our major presence on Instagram.
Oh, you have 25 people working for you or working with you?
We are actually a group member of 25 people, but if we consider the core team, we are 4 to 5 people.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So how can someone, so obviously this was an issue that was important to you personally, that you had a personal connection to. That's really cool. What would someone do to kind of, if they wanted to reach out and like join the peer group, what would they do? Would they just go to the website?
Yes, you can approach us through our Instagram. We are, kind of there on all social media platforms. We are there on YouTube. We are there on LinkedIn. We are there on Instagram. So if you want to join us, you can definitely, there's always a link available in our bio on Instagram where you can join us as a member, or if you want to do an internship with us, that is also there. Or if you want to volunteer for an event, that is also an option available. So you can definitely approach us. If you want to send us letters, because we send out letters to the people every month, around 90-95 letters are sent out every month. So even if you just want to write a letter and send it to us so that we can help someone who is in depression or going through a mental health illness, you can definitely do that. So yes, we, as I said, we have a major presence on Instagram. So you can definitely drop a DM, or you can approach us through our email ID, which is hello.empathyforyou@gmail.com.
Okay, cool. So what's kind of your goals with Empathy for You? Like where do you see, how do you see that organization kind of growing? Like, are there things that you want to do in the future that you want to kind of expand to?
Yes. So obviously, I would say that Empathy for You is a movement that I've started 2 years back, and I just want to take it forward, including more and more people, enrolling more and more people in the movement. The movement is about destigmatizing mental health and spreading awareness, and that I try to do through social media. Since we youngsters and teenagers, we use social media a lot. I aim to use social media to drive a positive impact. I also feel that it's really very important for each and everyone, not only the youngsters and the adults, but everyone, to kind of educate themselves at least with the basic concepts of mental health. And if we talk about stigma, I feel that is the main reason, because we don't know what mental health is. So I feel it's very important to educate people about mental health. Like since the school itself, we are taught about maintaining personal hygiene and how you have to be clean, how you need to take care of your physical health, but we aren't taught about our mental health. We aren't taught about something which is called as mental hygiene. So I really feel it's important to educate people about at least the basic concepts of mental health, and to make people come ahead or lead with empathy. That is really very important and required in 21st century. So checking on people about how they're feeling, what they're going through, and helping people in order to understand and kind of destigmatizing mental health and spread awareness, and kind of creating safe spaces for the people who want to come and share their feelings.
I think those are really great goals, because I don't know, here we're in Canada, here at Homework Help, and for the most part, like mental health is a pretty like there's a lot of education and services. It could be better, but is that something that kind of in India, is that kind of something that still like not a lot of people talk about, and it's still kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of hard for people to kind of get that concept. Like, is that kind of a big thing in India?
Yes, it's a big thing, because there are certain negative beliefs that are associated with mental health, and I feel the main reason to stigma is, first of all, it's like if you are going through mental health illness, people feel like, oh my god, she has gone crazy, oh my god, she has gone mad, or oh my god, she is not able to balance within herself, or she is disturbed within herself. The second reason is, again, as I said, there's lack of education which is related to mental health. There's also a kind of social difference that exists between your physical health and your mental health. Like, very easily people say that, okay, I'm having an appointment with a dentist, okay, I'm going to see my doctor, but not very easily they say that, okay, I'm having a session with my therapist. And here where, social difference between your physical health and your mental health comes in picture. I also feel that it's really very important for us to talk about it, and we being youngsters and teenagers, although the scenario is changing now, specifically in the young generation, but there's still the stigma that is associated in the generation which is ahead of us. So I really feel it's important for us to talk about mental health and kind of be a contribution in destigmatizing that. And when I say that, I mean to say that you have to start it from your own family. You have to start it from your own friend circle. And that is how you're going to be a contribution in destigmatizing mental health.
Like, that makes sense. Kind of change your own, when you start by changing your own perspective, and then you kind of help others around you do the same thing, and then it just kind of grows, and then eventually it just becomes normatized, so that if you do need, let's say you are suffering from depression and you need to ask for help, then you're not ashamed to go and ask for help when you need it.
Yes.
Definitely. So you also mentioned before that you are a member of the United Nations International Youth Council. How did you get involved on that level?
Okay, so there's basically a tough process that goes beyond that. So I have this habit of scrolling a lot on internet. I have this habit of applying to, hundreds and thousands of conferences which are abroad, which are in India. So in that way only I, came across the website of International Youth Council. And I applied that, and I actually got a mail saying that, okay, I have been taken forward to go through the process of the selection process. And it's really tough. I mean, the application that you need to fill plus the interview process that happens, it really the selection process is really tough. And I totally had no expectations when I did my interview, but that was a mail. I was just sitting across, around 12 p.m. on one day, and on surfing on mobile, and I got the mail saying that, congratulations, you've got selected. And I was just like, I was in my cloud nine. So that is how it happened, actually. And now I am the youngest member to be chosen at International Youth Council, and now I'm leading the Indian subcontinent.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's really so do you kind of use that platform to kind of help continue talking about mental health? Like, is that kind of like your focus with the UN?
Yes, obviously. So basically, there also I'm working in this area or the expertise of mental health. And we are, a team of 4 to 5 members from different countries who are coming together for the same cause, which is of mental health. And we are now kind of, into creating some goals, which are called as Millennium Development Goals, which is really going to help, people in understanding mental health and destigmatizing that, because there's not only one reason, there are not only two reasons that comes into, the stigma that is associated, but there are a lot of reasons. There's poverty, there's maternal health. There are also a lot of reasons. Like, if you consider India, it's a developing country, and there are a lot of regions which are not even developed, and they don't even know the concepts of mental health or something like that. They even haven't heard of that. So it's really very important for us to reach to these people, and that is why we are kind of, developing those goals at the United Nations. So there also I carry out this work under mental health, and we are kind of using that platform to kind of make a difference.
That makes sense. Yeah. Because obviously they can leverage, if you're working with at that level, you can leverage those resources to kind of reach, again, those areas that don't have the resources to understand mental health, or even to recognize that there is, like a mental health issue happening. So that, yes. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. And you mentioned also that you give TED Talks, and you've worked with a lot of different organizations, actually. Can you tell us about those?
Yes, so it wasn't TED Talks. It was just one TED Talk
Oh,
that I did, and that was actually a circle talk that I moderated. So I'll tell you about the TED Talk that I did, and then I'll talk about the organizations.
okay.
So TED Talk was a virtual talk. That was a TED Circle talk I did in the month of June this year only, and it was on resilience. So I talked a lot about emotional resilience over there, and emotional resilience is nothing but your capacity to be emotionally strong when you face any situation. And considering the situations outside, the negativity, the uncertainty out there, it's really very important to be emotionally resilient in this situation, especially in pandemic.
Mhm.
So and there I shared this mantra. I would love to share this because it's really helpful, which is called as APG mantra. And the first step, A stands for accept. So
Okay.
we have this habit of not accepting the situation. So it's really very important, maybe any situation, not only pandemic, it's really very important to accept that situation. I know it's really very difficult, I know it's not easy, but we need to do that, because when we accept the situation, we are preparing ourselves for the worst that is going to come. The P in APG mantra, it stands for prepare. Now that you have accepted the situation, it's time to prepare yourselves. And when you're preparing, it needs to be done on both the sides. Like, if this is happening, on the positive side, if this is happening, okay, this is how I'm going to win over that situation. Negative side, if this is happening, this is what I'm going to do, this will be my next step. So kind of preparing yourselves on both the sides. And when you're preparing yourselves, also make sure that you will keep looking on the bright side, because that will keep you going.
Right.
And the third thing is gratitude. From APG, the third thing is gratitude. So now that you have accepted the situation, now that you've prepared it, you're preparing yourself, just make sure that you're also being grateful for the things and people around you. And I'm pretty sure everyone might have understood the importance of being grateful, kind, and compassionate towards others, especially in this pandemic period. So this was kind of the one of the insight that I wanted to really share about from my TED talk. And yeah, as you talked about organizations, so yes, I have onboarded around 5 to 6 organizations, might be as resource panel member, as advisor, as mentors. So there are few organizations that I work in mental health, as in resource panel member for mental health, conducting live sessions, conducting workshops, putting out the content. And there also, on the other side, there are a few organizations that work in the field of business and personal growth. So that is somehow related to, again, conducting workshops in the field of business and everything. As we move forward, we are going to talk about business and kind of mental health also.
Right. Yeah, well, that's really interesting. I think that like you said before, like it makes a lot of sense to pay attention to having that right kind of mindset, especially right now, because like you said, like with the pandemic happening, it's really taken a toll on a lot of people's mental health and stress levels. And I mean, I was reading, like, I think it was an article or a report or something, and it was just saying like the number of people who have reported that they have depression has just like skyrocketed right now. So it is a really challenging time for that mental headspace right now, for sure.
Yes, that's definitely true.
So do you do this all, like, is this kind of like your full-time job, or do you have other stuff that you do on the side, like work commitments, on top of all this?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, I'm still a student, so I'm not doing a job, but this is how I started. I started this organization when I was 19, and I'm 21 now. So I'm still studying. I'm into my final year of engineering, and I'm studying at a computer science branch. Regarding the work commitments, it's, kind of, I would say, since so India was under lockdown since last 4 months, in March, April, May, and June, it was under lockdown. And that was really where I got time to pay attention towards my organization, because when it comes to college and attending lectures and doing assignment work and everything, I don't really get that time. But I would say the pandemic made that time possible for me to pay attention towards empathy for you.
Right.
So I have been very active since last 4 months, and I would proudly tell you that I have taken more than 65 sessions in last 4 months. And they conduct all workshops, all Instagram live sessions and webinars with different organizations and different countries also. I've kind of was invited by the Chief Administrative Secretary of Kenya for the interview on mental health and COVID-19. I have also taken a webinar for the 40 participants from the United States, which was again on mental health and pandemic. So kind of, being involved a lot in this field and kind of advocating mental health a lot. I also feel it's never like, like everyone has a timetable and kind of, first half of day for the college, second half of the day for organization. But for me, it's never like that. My day starts at 5 a.m. and it's, kind of first 2 or 3 hours are given for the work, which is related to empathy for you. So, and after that, it's my college, rushing to the college, coming back again. I again spend some time for assignments and everything. And after that, again, it's work for empathy for you. So I have not really, divided my timetable and my schedule in my first half of the day and second half of the day. But yes, it depends upon, how I take it ahead and the priority basis of the work.
Right, because you have to have some kind of system if you're running this organization and you're dedicating so much of your time to helping people with their own mental health, and you're also taking an engineering program, which is not an easy program to take. So obviously you have to, I'm sure you've figured out some kind of have you figured out like a system that works for you, that keeps you grounded and keeps your own mental health in check so you can kind of keep helping others?
Yes, definitely. So when it comes to, taking care of your mental health, the first emphasis is given on physical health, because now you might be having a question like, why am I talking about physical health when we are talking about mental health? But let me tell you that there's your physical body and your mind, they are together, and there's a connection, there's a link between your physical health and your mental health. So when you try to improve your physical health, you're indirectly doing it for your mental health also. And when you're trying to improvise your mental health, you're indirectly doing it for your physical health. And when it comes to, kind of maintaining your mental hygiene, the first focus is obviously on physical activity. And having said that, I don't mean to say that you have to work out rigorously for 40-45 minutes till you sweat and all those things, but I just mean to say that even 15 to 20 minutes of workout every day would also be fine. The second thing is on meditation. Meditation of just 5 to 8 minutes, because that is the time where you're sitting calm. That is the time when you're, trying to connect with your inner self, and that is really very important in times like this.
Right.
I also would love to give a special emphasis upon the sleep pattern and the nutrition, because this is really very disturbed when it comes to youngsters and teenagers like us. Because our sleep patterns, they're really disturbed. We sleep at, we are awake till almost 3-4 a.m. We get up at around 10-11 a.m. So it's kind of disturbed. We really need to keep a track on our sleep patterns. And the second thing, nutrition. So it's very important for us to not go into excessive eating, that which is also called as overindulgence. So kind of keep a track on what you eat, kind of plan your meals. And also it's very important to not include junk food very frequently. So this is really very important. And if you ask me what I do when it comes to mental health, the first of all is reading. This is the one of the best practices that, kind of help me to sit calm and just be there with myself, because I try to relate myself with every character in that book. The second thing I do is journaling. So I've always been a fond of writing since my 12th grade itself. And that is how, I actually got this habit of writing every day. So I journal every day. If you look at my journal, it's really shabby. Because people have this habit of maintaining this journal colorful and sticking the pictures and everything. But if you look at my journal, it's just words and words everywhere. So I think these are my go-to kind of mental health things that really help me to keep myself sane and balanced.
And that really just keeps you, I know that I've talked to a lot of people, and almost everyone has said that journaling is kind of a way that people, it's kind of like a form of therapy almost, because you kind of just unleash everything that's on your mind and that's bothering you, and you just kind of write it all out, and it surprisingly feels a lot better after.
You have taken all the burden and stress from your head.
Exactly. Yeah, and you've kind of just let it out and let that piece of paper deal with it. So another thing that you had mentioned before, and I know we kind of did touch on this a little bit, but part of your kind of platform with Empathy for You, it includes like a social and emotional learning, or SEL, as part, and you're trying to put that into school curriculums, correct?
Okay, so when we talk about SEL, which is also kind of social and emotional learning, it's all about self-awareness. It's all about understanding your emotions. It's all about understanding your feelings. It's all about giving a space to feel your emotions, giving a space to feel your feelings. It's all about relationship with yourself, and it's all about relation with others also when it's okay with you, and it's also about self-management. So I told you a story that, but we are not taught about, how we need to take care of our mental health. We are not taught about how we need to mentally feel, considering the changing urban lifestyle. I really feel it's very important for us to teach the children from their childhood, because when they grow, and it will really be helpful for them to, understand and face those problems which were difficult for me to face. And that is why I really feel like there's a need to improve, there's a need to include SEL as a subject in the curriculum of schools and colleges. Why important? Because SEL, it kind of provides a foundation for a safe and positive learning. I would also say that there are, if you have seen, if you have looked at the stats, there are a lot of children who are failing at schools. There are a lot of children who are kind of disturbed. There are a lot of children who are going through mental health issues. And that is the reason I feel, it's very important for us to teach them about how they need to take care of their mental health, and how they need to check upon their feelings and their emotions, how they need to acknowledge their emotions. Because what we are taught is, if you are angry, if you're sad, you just have to don't pay attention towards that emotion. You just have to make yourselves busy in something else. That is what we have taught. But ignoring the emotion, avoiding the emotion, will just help that emotion to bottle up. And once
Right.
those emotions bottle up, it's kind of, it will be a burst. So it's really very important from time to time to unbottle those emotions also. And that is what, the basic study of emotions is covered by SEL. And that is why I feel it's needs to be included in the curriculum of schools and colleges. But this battle, or this petition, is not only limited to one side, that is of students, but we also need the teachers, the professors who are going to teach that. Because the science teacher or maths teacher can't come and teach children about SEL. There also needs to be a separate group of teachers or professors who need to be trained in order to teach SEL to the students.
Right.
So the battle is on both the sides.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, because you need someone who actually knows how to teach that to people, because I think that's really important for kids to learn, because the earlier you can learn to deal with your emotions and keep that mental state in check, I think that would actually really help a lot of problems like later on down the line, like number of cases of domestic violence or things like that. I think that probably would have a really big impact if people learned that really early on. So I think that that's would be really helpful, even if you
Yes.
teach that at a young age. So I was going to ask you if you, why is mental health such a big issue for specifically for college and university students? Like, why do you think that is kind of a big deal for people at this level to understand to their own mental state and to check in with themselves?
Okay, so I'll start answering this question by sharing a statistic with you. And it is 1 in 6 children between the age of 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder. So 1 in 6 children, it's like really huge. And that is why I feel like it's really very important, to pay attention towards the mental health of school children and college children. There are a lot of personality disorders. There might be stomach aches, there might be headaches, there might be anxiety issues, there might be depression issues that the students might go through. And I feel one of the reasons is also the performance pressure, that always you need to have good grades in your exams, you need to have good grades in your assignments and your tests. So there's always a performance pressure on that student. There's also I'm not really sure whether it's with all the within all the families, but there are also something called as family trauma which comes in picture. Might be clash between the mother father, there might be relationship issues between the mother father, between anyone in the family. So that also like creates a trauma on the school children. And then again there are relationship issues also, because in early stages the students are kind of building relationships newly, and they are not kind of too much aware about building relationships and being friends and kind of just getting into each other. So there's also something which is called as relationship issues, pressure on them when it comes to kind of dealing with new people or making new friends. So I feel these are the main reasons, especially when it comes to school and college students, and that is why I feel like we need to give a special emphasis on teaching school and college children about mental health.
Right, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So do you kind of have any like little tips or pieces of advice that you could recommend to current university or college students that maybe they could do, like something they could do on a regular basis to kind of help with their mental health?
Yes, definitely. So as I told you that your physical body and your mind are connected, and
Mm-hmm.
that is why it's really very important to move your body every day for 15-20 minutes. Please kind of do some physical exercise every day. I really need to push myself to do physical activity every day, but every day I kind of get it done. And what I have done, I have used this trick of kind of making variations in that. So if one day if I do yoga, the second day I'll do something else, might be cardio, the third day I'll do something else. So I've kind of kept variations. So like if you don't feel like, okay, every day I have to get up and do the same exercise or do the same workout every day. So just kind of, keep variations in that. So you feel like doing it every day. As I talked about meditation, but here I will give a special emphasis on breathing techniques. Very, very important when it comes to focus and concentration. Um, Especially the technique which is called as box breathing is very important. So it's very simple. You can just go and Google about box breathing, and it's very simple for the beginners. Also, you can start with practicing box breathing. The third, would give an emphasis upon sleep patterns and your nutrition that really needs to be balanced in order to have a balanced mental health. Um, I would tell everyone to kind of pick a small hobby. Having said that, I don't mean to say that you have to go out of the way and pick some extravagant hobby, but it could be as simple as watering your plant every day, because that is the time where you are kind of that is the time where it's starting to be empathetic and showing love towards others. So I really feel like watering a new plant or planting a new tree would be something that you can do. And I also feel it's very important to spend some time with yourself, because we are constantly into something. We come back from our colleges, we are into assignments and homework, we again sleep, and we again the next day rush back to colleges and work. So it's very important to kind of spend some time with yourself. It might be it totally depends upon you. Like the time I spend with myself is through reading and journaling. So it might be anything for you. It might be just going to mm, it might be sitting at a balcony enjoying the view outside. It might be watching sunset. It might be sitting with your loved one having a conversation with them. It might be with your friends. So it totally depends upon you, but just make sure that you are kind of spending some time with yourself. I also would love to give a special emphasis on self-care, and which is really very important. Again, self-care doesn't mean that you have to treat yourself to bubble baths or manicure pedicure. So there's a very different definition that I'm talking about self-care. The self-care is basically any action where you are, any action which is intended to take care of yourself or, kind of preserve your health. So make sure you're taking care of yourself every day. And I'm not having said that, I don't mean to say that, just maintaining personal hygiene and taking a shower every day. There's also something which is called as mental hygiene that comes in picture. So make sure that, you know, um, after a few days you're doing a feelings check. And what is feelings check? It's just focusing on your feelings, like what have you felt, what are the emotions that you felt in last few days, what you did when you felt those emotions, kind of asking some questions to yourself. I would also love to say this, that it's really very important for us to make sure that we are kind of practicing a new skill every day, because that's a great exercise to your brain. Keep learning new things, keep practicing something new, because that way your brain will also be exercised. So yeah, these are the few tips.
Yeah, those are really helpful, because also too, like a lot of mental health is directly related to your stress levels as well, and students tend to experience obviously very high stress levels when they're in college and university. So a lot of those things can kind of help, just kind of taking those stress levels down. Like, is there anything that you do to kind of manage your own stress that we haven't, aside from like the journaling and reading? Is there anything else you kind of do on your own end that you might want to recommend for stressed out students?
Yes, definitely. So there are 3 activities, my go-to activities where I do to relieve the stress and anxiety that I get from the work. So first of all, it's just grabbing a cup of coffee, going to my terrace and watching sunset, because Mother Nature comes with a scenery every day and it's totally for free. So why not just go and feel calm and rejuvenated? We have this habit of kind of if you want to feel calm and relaxed, if you want to just take a kind of break from our work, we'll find some lavish resort in the hills and mountains, and we'll go there and kind of spend a lot of time and money on it. But I feel this is also kind of rejuvenation and it's totally for free, so why not do it every day? The second thing, my go-to thing, is art. So I'm not a great artist, I'm not a good painter or something like that. But for me, art is very different thing. Whenever I feel like, okay, my things aren't working out, okay, that's too much work that I've done, I'll just take a paper, I'll take my crayons and I'll start scribbling. That is also one of the ways that helps me reduce the anxiety and the stress of the work.
Right.
And the third thing, as I said, is again journaling, because that I just love doing that. And also I would love to give an emphasis on decorating my room, because when it comes to decorating my room using some small miniature things and kind of making it colorful and bright, I just love doing that. So journaling and kind of decorating.
Yeah, so it's a lot of like kind of just embracing that creative side and kind of doing things that help you kind of just like keep your brain going, but in a more creative, like artistic way.
Yes.
Interesting. So do you have any, I know that you are still in school, but do you have any kind of like long-term and short-term goals that you are working on personally?
Yes. So I basically have a lot of goals, but just to talk about short-term and long-term goals, my first short-term goal is to launch a platform for all the young, ambitious people out there who are trying to redefine the meaning of leadership, entrepreneurship, innovation, and purpose. And I'm kind of in the process of doing that. I might launch in a few days, because Empathy for You is completing 1 year very soon. And I have this in my mind to kind of launch the platform on the first birthday of Empathy for You. So this is a platform that's really going to be beneficial for the young students out there, or the wannabe entrepreneurs, because I feel there's still a gap between the mentors and the wannabe entrepreneurs. They don't really find that guidance and support, and that is why this organization would be bridging the gap between the mentors and the wannabe entrepreneurs, and kind of helping them to start a new business or start their own startup. My long-term goal is to graduate with a degree of business modeling or international business or business administration from Aarhus University, Denmark. So I was last year, in May 2019, I was there in Denmark for 2 months. I am a research fellow, certified research fellow from Aarhus University, Denmark, and I've done this, a research fellowship in business modeling. Now, again, there's the third part which comes in. There's computer science, there's mental health, and there's business also.
Right.
So business is my major, and I really love, kind of working in that field. So I want to graduate from Aarhus University, Denmark, with a master's degree. And, though I said like I have long-term and short-term goals, but I just have one goal that I look forward, that whatever I do throughout the work, I just need to give my 100%, and just I need to be excellent in whatever I do, because
Right.
that is really, I make sure that I whatever I do throughout the work, may it be studies or may it be work, I'm just excellent at it, I'm just perfect at it. So that is my goal, which is never going to end.
Right. And you can apply that goal to everything that you do.
Yes.
So that's really
Yes.
good too. It's very versatile. um, One of the questions that we ask all of our podcast guests is, if you could go back and talk to your 15-year-old self, what advice would you give, or what would you say to yourself?
Okay, so if I have to talk to my 15-year-old self, I would definitely educate my 15-year-old self about the basic concepts of mental health, because that is the problem I really faced. And, that is really close to my heart when I saw my friend going through depression, and she kind of taking, medical help and taking
Right.
those medications and kind of approaching a therapist and doing sessions. So that if I also think about all those episodes, I really feel kind of low and stressed. So if I have to tell something or teach something to my 15-year-old self, it will definitely be about educating about the basic concepts of mental health. And if I'm in school or college, I would definitely try to start a club which will be obviously related to spreading awareness about mental health and destigmatizing mental health, because as I said, it's really very important for the schools and colleges to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And every high school student could benefit from something like that, no matter who you are, because everyone, even if you don't realize it, like even if you're not thinking about your mental health, it's still an important thing that you need to kind of keep up on, especially as a high school student.
Yeah.
High school can get really stressful. Um, So another thing too is, as we mentioned before, um, the COVID-19 pandemic has kind of just like ripped through everyone's mental health, and really just caused a lot of whether it's depression or anxiety. It's really just played a big role in kind of bringing everyone's mental health levels down. And a lot of students are starting off the school year right now and coming off this like really confusing and stressful summer online situation. Do you have any kind of advice that you would give to those students as they try to navigate this really stressful time?
Yes, definitely. So I would suggest everyone, all the high school students out there, to kind of, know how you're feeling, because that is really very important. Kind of do feelings check over a few days or a few weeks, because that is really very important. We were into kind of a different life when it was kind of in pandemic, but now we are getting to new normal, and that is really very important for us to keep a check on our feelings and emotions. The second one is, I would say, reestablish your routine, because when you are kind of putting yourself in routine, and when you're kind of keeping yourselves busy in that routine, you don't even have that time to think about, okay, this is what is happening to me, okay, maybe I'm stressed or anxious. So kind of reestablish that routine that keeps you busy throughout the day. I also feel that don't put pressure upon yourselves. Now, as I said, there has been a different life that we have been living for since past few months, and now that we are getting back to new normal, it might be anxious, it might upon yourself to constantly be productive and doing all the things, and it's all right to not be productive sometimes. So please don't put that pressure upon yourselves. I also feel that think ahead, in the sense that keep something scheduled or keep something that you look forward to, because that will definitely keep you going. It might be as small as a house party at the weekend, or meeting someone or making up with someone. So it could be as simple as that. So kind of keep something to look forward to, and that will definitely keep you going. I also feel it's very important to reach out for help, and it's very important to seek support if you need that. because the times are difficult out there. There's negativity, there's uncertainty out there, and if you feel that you're not able to do it within yourselves, please feel free and to reach out for support, maybe to professional, or at least talk to your closed ones, might be your parents, might be anyone in your family. But please don't do but please do that. Please don't kind of handle it within yourselves. That might sometimes burst out.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good time to keep all of your emotions bottled up, because it's never a good time to do that, but especially right now. One other thing that we like to ask all of our guests is we like to ask if you have any favorite motivational quotes that you would like to share.
Well, there are a lot, because when I wake up at 5 a.m., my day starts at 5 a.m., and it's kind of for 20-25 minutes, it's all about physical activity. Then I do meditation for 5 to 8 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's all about journaling for 15-20 minutes. So when I journal, I have kind of habits of writing out 3 empowering thoughts every day, and I'll share what I wrote today.
Okay.
So my first, empowering thought was to lead is to serve. I really believe in this, that whether you want to start a new startup, whether you want to start a new business, whether you want to start a new needs to be in the service of the society. So whatever you're doing, it needs to be in the service of the society.
Mm-hmm.
The second I wrote was, it's the kind of, you can call it as a self-affirmation that I usually align while I'm doing meditation. So I say that I inhale what I am, I exhale what I'm not. So I inhale all the positivity and my strengths, and I exhale my weaknesses and negativity out. So I inhale what I am and I exhale what I'm not. And the third one was, every day is a page in the book of your legacy. So I am a kind of person that really believes in doing excellent work throughout the day, may it be studies, may it be the organization work, as I told you. So I just make sure that I give my 100% to the work that I do every day.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Because those are all really good things to remember, regardless of whether you're a student or an entrepreneur or whatever you want to do. Always remembering, kind of keeping yourself grounded. Why are you doing this in the first place? And keeping that focus is really important too. So yeah, that's really great. I do have one last question, and this is more of like a fun question that we like to ask people. So what is your favorite social media platform and why?
Yeah, so my favorite social media platform is LinkedIn. The reason being, I just started 3 years back. I'm not using LinkedIn since a long time. I just started 3 years back. And when I did that, that was basically for, just to put out my write-ups out there, because as I told, I am fond of writing. And when I did that, I usually started posting small write-ups. And that is how I landed into my first job of, freelance content writer. So I've worked as freelance content writer for more than 10 organizations till now, and that is how I landed into my first job. So that is how I started with LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has given me a lot. It has given me a lot of connections. It has connected me a lot of mentors and entrepreneurs and the people who are passionate about and ambitious about what they are doing. So I really feel that LinkedIn is my favorite platform.
It's actually really funny that you say that, because normally people, when we ask them that question, they just say Instagram, or a couple people have said like Twitter or Snapchat, but no one actually ever says LinkedIn. So that's actually I find that really interesting. But yeah, that's really cool. So just before we do you want to drop the name, your Instagram handle for Empathy for You, so that people can go and follow you?
Yes. So it's @empathy for you. So it's EMPATHY 4 number 4 and YOU. So we are, as I said, we have a major presence on Instagram. You can definitely drop us a DM over there. And do follow You Lead India also. That is the new organization that I talked about, which I'm going to launch soon, which is all about leadership and entrepreneurship. So the Instagram username is @You Lead India. So do follow that also. You can reach out to us on our email ID also, which is hello.empathyforyou@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us on LinkedIn. You can find us by the name of Empathy for You. We are also there on YouTube. You can just type in the search box the name, which is Empathy for You Mental Health Service. So this is where you will find us online, and you can definitely contact us anytime.
Perfect. So just before we wrap up, do you have any final insights you want to share? I know we covered quite a bit, so.
Yes. So this is for, I would share this. I mean, this is my personal learning, and this is what I stick to always. That, work to do all the things, but I also work to create a legacy that you will leave behind. Because if you ask me, why do I work so much? Why do I do these things? Why do I, kind of start an organization and study and everything? The reason is I want to create a legacy, and I want to leave that legacy behind. Like, people should remember me that, okay, she's Shalmali, she has left her own legacy behind. I want my kids to look at me and say that, okay, she is a mama. So I just want to, make sure and tell this to everyone out there that work every day, give your 100%, be excellent at what you do throughout the day. It might be any work, however big or small. Just make sure that you're being perfect and excellent at it.
Amazing. I think that is a really powerful way to kind of leave that off. So I want to thank you for joining us today. Thanks for taking time out of your day to chat with me. We learned a lot today about mental health and stress and all of that kind of stuff, and more about Empathy for You and what you do. So again, thank you for sharing that with us and for talking to me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful for, having me and asking me these questions, and kind of asking me the questions that are also related to leadership and also on mental health. And thank you for being such a lovely host. I had a great time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we'll keep in touch with you too, to kind of see where you guys go. And we'll post the links to your social media accounts and things like that as well. So thank you. We really appreciate that. And we will keep up with you in the future.
Yes, definitely. Would love to be in touch.
All right. Well, take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.